We have disability fraud, caregiver fraud, healthcare fraud, GI Bill fraud, and someone tried to blow up the VA medical center. I mean, you name it. And all of this happened within 3 days of each other. California man charged in $10 million healthcare fraud. $10 million healthcare fraud. Adam Wayne Owens of Riverside, California, was charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and wire fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to violate the federal anti-kickback statute. I have no idea what that is. Owens owned and operated multiple marketing companies through which he and his conspirators identified and targeted elderly patients for at-home cancer genetic testing. From November of 18 to January of 20, he and his conspirators sent unwanted and unnecessary testing kits to beneficiaries, and when the tests were returned, Owens submitted the claims for reimbursement to Medicare. In exchange, his companies received kickback payments ranging from $1,700 to $2,000 for each test result and Medicare reimbursement. Owens and his conspirators allegedly caused a loss of approximately $10 million to Medicare. The VA, OIG, FBI, HHS, OIG, and DOD, OIG, Defense Criminal Investigative Service, investigated this case. Moving down to U.S. sues 2 Florida schools for false GI Bill claims. The United States filed a civil lawsuit against Robert J. Remington, owner of 2 New Horizons Computer Learning Center franchises in Tampa and Orlando, alleging he submitted false claims to the VA for post-9/11 GI Bill tuition payments. The United States alleges Remington and his businesses repeatedly failed to report tuition waivers for students receiving less than 100% assistance under the GI Bill and failed to comply with Title 38 by paying commissions, bonuses, or other incentive payments to enrollment representatives based on sales of New Horizons courses to GI Bill students. This case was investigated by the VA, OIG, and the DOJ. Buffalo, this is crazy, okay? Buffalo man arrested for threatening to blow up VA medical centers. DeMont Costin of Buffalo, New York, was arrested and charged by criminal complaint with threatening to blow up a VA medical center in Buffalo and Washington, D.C. I go to the VA medical center in Washington, D.C. Don't do that. On September 12th of 2023, Costin called the Veterans Crisis Line and made statements indicating that he couldn't get any help from the VA, then no one can. So if he can't, no one can, and that the VA won't be here anymore. Costin also stated he finally found the person that he wanted to kill, and he planned to kill him tomorrow. After investigators were unable to contact Costin, he was located at a family member's house in Maryland, right down the road. The charge carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. VA, OIG, and Medical Center Police investigated this case. Kansas veteran and wife indicted for defrauding the VA. So James Bradford, a U.S. Army veteran from Kansas, and his wife, Aquanda Bradford, are accused of providing false and fraudulent information to the VA about his caregiver needs and her caregiving functions, resulting in the receipt of $172,426 in disability compensation, to which they were not entitled to. They are charged with 1 count of conspiracy and 1 count of theft of public money, property, or records. The VA, OIG, and General Services Administration, OIG, are investigating this case. Massachusetts man indicted for fraudulently obtaining funds meant to combat veteran suicide. David Duran, aka Daweed Hakim Duran, I probably butchered that, of Massachusetts, was indicted on wire fraud and federal program fraud charges. According to the charging documents, Duran was a program manager for a non-profit healthcare provider in Nashua, New Hampshire, where he oversaw a program funded by a $750,000 Staff Sergeant Fox suicide prevention grant from the VA. At Duran's recommendation, the healthcare provider hired a company called E3 Foundation to provide services funded by the grant. Now, this part is wild. E3 Foundation was in turn purportedly led by a Dr. Michael Rapp. However, unbeknownst to the healthcare provider, Duran controlled E3 Foundation and was pretending to be Dr. Michael Rapp on emails and calls. Duran was able to fraudulently obtain almost $50,000 from the grant. The VA, OIG, and FBI investigated this case. Veterans, let's stop doing stupid stuff and submit evidence-based claims, regardless of what kind of claim that is. Submit an evidence-based claim. Your testimony is your testimony, and it's very, very strong if it's backed by medical evidence. Plus, you avoid really stupid mistakes like this one. My favorite one, and I guess that's not really the right word, is the Kansas veteran and the wife being indicted for, creating caregiver fraud. There's so many times, especially on Facebook groups, where I see spouses, particularly wives, ask about creating evidence or manufacturing evidence for the caregiver program. And if you do meet that criteria, I'm all for it, okay? I'm 100% for it. But if you're trying to weasel your way and play the system, I'm telling you, the VA will come down on you like a hammer. And, to your due diligence, I hope they do.